I want to talk about Black Room at Teep Studios. If you enjoy the content of this podcast, you will definitely enjoy the value that you get out of the Black Room and being a member of the Black Room. What it is it's a subscriber-based way to support the podcast. If you enjoy the podcast and want it to continue, I'm asking for your help. And in exchange, you're going to get an underground view of Muay Thai, American Muay Thai, as well as within Thailand. We have people who are now working on the ground in Thailand that are helping us get media, content, all that stuff. We're posting it there on Black Room, as well as behind the scenes footage of the podcast recordings when we're recording. After I stop recording for stuff that we broadcast, we put some subscriber-based only content on there. So you're going to really get a lot of value out of that subscription. Okay, it's not just supporting the podcast. We also have podcast subscriber only merchandise that's coming out as well here in 2024. So you have to be a part of the Black Room in order to get access to that. So I'm asking you for your help on that, but I know that it's not so much of you helping me. It's going to be us giving you a ton of value that you're going to get and just enjoy it. And it's only $5 a month. All right, you can cancel it anytime. Every little bit counts. Please go join it. The link is down in the show notes. All right. Anyways, sit back and enjoy the show.
Episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast is brought to you by pmtlifestyle.com. Authentic Muay Thai lifestyle by Pu'u. Definitely go check out the website at pmtlifestyle.com for some awesome lifestyle merchandise. That's for those of you out there either involved in Muay Thai, looking at getting involved in Muay Thai, and embrace a healthier lifestyle to live the life of the Nak Muay. Go check it out.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Pu'u, host of the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast. With over 18 years in Muay Thai, I've worn many hats, from professional fighter, coach, and now a ring official for some of the biggest Muay Thai organizations across North America and the world. For more than a decade, I've been running and operating Pu'u Muay Thai in Ventura, California, one of the most highly rated academies in California in Muay Thai, where we focus on transforming lives through martial arts. Whether it's in the gym, in the ring, or on this podcast, my passion is to share authentic Muay Thai and help people connect to its deeper values. With that said, I would like to do a brief catch-up, wish you a happy New Year's, the first episode of the new year. So there's some things going on right now. Today is January 10th. We have the fires in California that are going on right now. So I would like to just reach out to everybody out there. They do not affect us here in Ventura or Santa Barbara at this time. Ventura County, all right, for like our district. The southern end of the county, there is a fire right now, but definitely didn't get hit like what they did down the Palisades. For anybody that's listening or watching this episode later, I highly recommend there's a local nonprofit in Goleta, which is part of Santa Barbara County. It's called Direct Relief. DirectRelief.org is based in Goleta, California, and is not far from the fires. They're literally boots on the ground. I've seen them during the Thomas fires back in 2017 in Ventura and Santa Barbara. They were out there giving out water. They had pallets. They were ready to go. So I'm just going to recommend Direct Relief again for anybody that's like international and is figuring out like, hey, you want to help, go check out directrelief.org. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. It's just from what I've seen from my personal perspective. And I've done fundraisers for them when we had the Thomas fires and everything like that too. So I just recommend go check them out if you want to give back to them. And just from us at Pu'u Muay Thai to everybody that's affected, I hope you're all safe. All right. So with that said, today's episode is about why Muay Thai fighters are not in UFC. All right. So there's a lot of things that kind of go into this. Number one being the cultural significance of Muay Thai in Thailand. It is the national sport of Thailand. All right. From Ratchatham Stadium, Lumpini Stadium, Rangsit Stadium in Bangkok, and Jitmuang Nun Stadium, TV7 Stadium, Omnoi Stadium. These are like the big TV cultural things you see. It's very similar to like watching your local baseball stadium, whether it be like LA, whether it be in Oakland or New York. everywhere across it here in Arizona, right? We have like spring training is popular out here. It's the same thing in Thailand for Muay Thai. All right. So to go from, let's say, from playing American baseball, all right, to all of a sudden being a European football player, right? Soccer player. That's just, you don't see it because it's like, hey, you could maybe apply some of the athletic abilities over to that, right? But it's not what you do. You focus on baseball if you're good at baseball, right? Not only this, with the history of Muay Thai, it's something that the Thai people are very proud of. And it's something that's just really steeped in the country's history and the culture of the Thai people. All right. It goes back further than anything that can be documented due to everything that's just been completely destroyed in the country during war, right? They used Muay Thai to defend the land. Literally, they have March 17th. There's a Nai Kanom Tom Day. There's a legend of Nai Kanom Tom. And there's a reason why it's a national holiday in Thailand. Let's put it that way. All right. If you don't know what Nai Kanom Tom Day is, it's basically a day celebrating a famous Muay Thai warrior in the lore of Thailand who defended the land and fought against the Burmese and won his people's freedom. All right. It would be like the significance of like us signing in the US the Declaration of Independence, right? It's like Independence Day for us, almost, right? So with that too, there's always been like this strife ever since like MMA made a premiere in Thailand, through these training facilities that have been there. And I want you to know that the law in Thailand is different. All right. It's just completely different the way the law is structured than we do here in the West. What do I mean by that? Well, let's go over this first. That MMA was actually banned in Thailand. This is like in the mid 2010s. I think it was around like 2012. It was at one point banned because it was found, they said that it violated the 1999 Boxing Act within Thailand, which is the Sports Authority of Thailand. That's the sole governing body of Muay Thai in Thailand. All right. With that said, I will say this. Thailand is known for some other things as well, such as, the adult entertainment industry, which is actually illegal. All right. It is illegal, but it still happens, as we know. All right. It's like known, even on was it The Hangover 2, where they're in Thailand? They like talk about it, and it's in mainstream media. It's part of pop culture. People know about this. It's no secret that the total entertainment industry in Thailand is like a whole thing. There's people that go to Thailand just for that. It's freaking wild, right? So with that said, with MMA being banned, like the government's official stance was that it's banned, but it was still going on in more of like an underground sense. It wasn't widely promoted. It was going on in some seedier areas of the country. By seedier areas, I mean places that might be funded by some foreign interests within the country. And I'm not going to name those areas specifically because I'm not going to get political here. But there's a lot of reasons why that might have happened. All right. Like I said, it did go against their Boxing Act. But I honestly think that the Thais felt that there was some kind of takeover of combat sports within Thailand that was affecting the economy of Muay Thai. Right? There was kind of like the stigma that like, hey, you can't do this here. Like Muay Thai is like, we only do Muay Thai and boxing here. And it wasn't similar. It wasn't like the US where was it Dick Cheney was saying that the UFC was like human cockfighting. It wasn't like that, at least to my knowledge and my understanding from my limit in the Thai language and stuff too. It was more of like, hey, you can't do this here because we don't regulate it. And we want to promote Muay Thai. Muay Thai is the king of combat sports, right? There's some posts. If you look back, if you just type in Muay Thai banned in Thailand, like on Google, you'll find it. Bangkok Post had a really good article on this, which, there's just a little screenshot of it right here for you. So on this post, it talks about like how it was actually banned and how it actually violated the Boxing Act and everything like that within Thailand. All right. So fast forward, 10 years, right? Not even 10 years, from 2012 to like 2018, there's one championship is in Thailand, right? So now you're seeing Muay Thai and MMA being promoted side by side. You're seeing MMA at Lumpini Stadium. This is a relatively new thing to see it at the Thai stadiums like this, as of like late 2020, early 2021, when we started seeing women be able to fight at the big stadiums as well. So, we had Celeste Hansen here on the podcast, one of the first females to fight at the Thai stadiums in Thailand, making like a cultural change within the sport. And with MMA coming around, the money, I feel like, was what really was the driving factor behind this, right? As well as the women fighting, because it's like, hey, they're losing out on money by not allowing women to fight in the stadiums. So with Muay Thai and MMA being promoted side by side in promotions such as Fairtex Fight Promotions and One Championship being the biggest one, and it's international, all right? It's put on Amazon Prime TV, not to mention all the online live streaming services that go around the world. So I really feel like a lot of this had to do with Western influence and bringing this into Thailand with the money that came with it, with the Western currency and the strength of that. The Thais, of course, are going to figure out a way to monetize that, right? They have the stadiums, they have the infrastructure with the officials, and with the stadiums, they could have MMA fights, right? So you're seeing it promoted side by side with Muay Thai. You're seeing mixed martial arts there as well. And for those that don't know, or if you're not educated in what mixed martial arts is, the whole topic is the UFC. The UFC is essentially a brand of mixed martial arts. I compare it to like the NFL. If you're American, you know what the NFL is for American football. It's like the NFL for mixed martial arts here in the United States. Most of you that might be listening are probably saying, duh, Jonathan. Well, I got a lot of people on here who don't know that. So I'm saying this for you out there that are listening or watching here on YouTube. Not only that, is there was a big expansion of MMA training facilities within Thailand, specifically in Phuket, right? We had Tiger Muay Thai was huge. They were one of the first, I want to say, Muay Thai training facilities that started bringing in foreigners and putting out a lot of media. They really got the media, putting stuff up on YouTube, on Facebook when they had the video functions, Instagram. They were one of the first ones that started doing this, like really just doubled, tripled down. My friend Mitch Viquez, who got an internship, there was a photography and videography school that was based in Ventura and Santa Barbara. It was world famous. Is now bankrupt. It was called Brooks Institute of Photography. Actually had an internship program worked out with Tiger Muay Thai to bring students after they graduated to work as interns at Tiger Muay Thai in media for photography, video, and audio. So just to show you like how ahead they were, this was back in like 2012, 2013, when they had these programs fully functioning. My friend Mitch was one of them. He ended up going through. He now works for the UFC. Just to give you some perspective on the influence that Tiger Muay Thai had on MMA in Thailand. Now, fast forward a bit, about 10 years, right? We now have Bang Tao Muay Thai and MMA, which is huge in Bang Tao Beach, which is also in Phuket. And then you have also that was prior to that opened up after Tiger Muay Thai. It was AKA Thailand. Mike Swick of the UFC opened up AKA Thailand. If you don't know what AKA is, it is a combat sports academy that's based, I believe, in San Jose. It's the American Kickboxing Academy. And they opened up a huge facility out in Phuket, Thailand as well. All right. And my friend Mitch actually worked for them after he worked for Tiger Muay Thai. Mike Swick picked him up and brought him over there. So just to kind of show you like where these connections are with the UFC and the influence of Muay Thai and coming into the UFC. All right. So a lot of these people, they're spending time over there to go to these mega training facilities. They're huge. All right. So now we see One Championship promoting MMA and Muay Thai athletes who are, and they're encouraging them to cross over from Muay Thai to MMA, and they're giving them a platform to get those lower level MMA fights, right? It's not the NFL of mixed martial arts like the UFC is, but it is a way for them to get that experience. There were some other promotions. There's PFL, that was here, Professional Fight League. And then there's also Legacy, which is also within Legacy Fighting Alliance, LFA, I believe is what it's called, is within the USA, because the USA is a huge market for mixed martial arts, as well as in Europe, it's picking up as well. But now in Asia, the Asian market had a platform, because before it was before the UFC really blew up, there was Pride Championship within Thailand. And I've talked about Pride here before on the podcast. If you've been following for a while, you're familiar with this. But Pride Championship was based in Japan, and that was like the last like big mixed martial arts promotion that was in Asia. All right, in Asia proper, in Japan, right? So kind of now that we have this platform in One Championship as a feeder program, also it's a fallback program for some people. There's fighters who get dropped from the UFC that get picked up by One Championship, Sage Northcutt being one of them. All right. Kind of going into it as well is fighters that went from Muay Thai to the UFC. Right. These are people who didn't have that platform of One Championship to build into it. They put the time and the effort in to do the groundwork, to do the grappling, to do jiu-jitsu, to do judo, to do, Greco-Roman wrestling, freestyle wrestling, catch wrestling, to do it all. And to go from high level in Muay Thai, we're talking about like world championship caliber, high class athletes in Muay Thai from fighting in these major world tournaments and professional fight organizations in Muay Thai, to learning all this stuff on the side and then getting into the UFC. The first one being Loma Lookboonmee, who was produced, or their MMA career for that matter, they were a very decorated Muay Thai fighter, was produced at Tiger Muay Thai, and they are, I believe now at Bang Tao Muay Thai and MMA under the Hickman brothers, who had a part in Loma making that transition over. So that's a big influence, right? Loma Lookboonmee is one of those high-level Muay Thai fighters. I've talked about her before on here, all right? For those that haven't listened, talked about her before. She has that Muay Thai clinch, body kick, leg kick, teeps, elbows, knees, got punching, everything, and has a really solid grappling background now. I think over the past, around 8 to 10 years, she's been doing this now, right? We also have Valentina Shevchenko, all right? Valentina Shevchenko, I think originally from Peru, if I'm not mistaken, and just complete world class in Muay Thai and kickboxing, made that transition very successfully over to the UFC. If you don't know who Valentina Shevchenko is, you might want to go look her up. Other one is also Joanna Jędrzejczyk from Poland. All right, Joanna, I saw her at Sasi Papa Gym in Bangkok, Thailand back in 2010. She was there. All right, fighting on IFMA World Championships and doing all these other fights at Thailand, at MBK and everything like that too, doing the whole stadium scene that you were allowed to do because they didn't allow them to fight at Lumpini and Much Dem Nurn back then. But I believe that if those opportunities were there, they would have definitely been there as well. All right, but I want you to notice that it's mostly women that made that transition, right? I mean, the women's division in the UFC wasn't as deep. Not saying they didn't do the freaking work. They definitely did, 100%. Right? And we're just now starting to see some male talent that focus on that Muay Thai background, and ones that really are putting it to the forefront, such as Khalil Roundtree. Recently, he'd been training with Eddie Farrell down when they had Tulum Muay Thai, and now Escondido Thai Camp. Eddie, who's been at our academy to do workshops and stuff like that too, and I've refed his fights before and worked their event down there in Mexico. And Chris Trammell, who's based out of Syndicate MMA in Las Vegas, a huge fight camp. So that's where Khalil was doing his training, I believe, most of it with Chris. And there's some other UFC fighters that are there. And Eddie and Chris were both based out of Tiger Muay Thai back in the day, right? They both had their bases there. Eddie and his wife, Brooke Farrell, who's also a professional fighter, fought in one championship. They were sponsored fighters at Tiger Muay Thai, all right? So they understood that MMA Muay Thai crossover very well. They understand it very well. They've been doing it for a long time because Phuket, where Tiger Muay Thai, and now you're Bangtan Muay Thai MMA, aka Thailand. There's more that are popping up too, that are down there. They're just everywhere, and you're seeing them create these influence of people and these steps that come through it that are getting these people into the UFC that are showing Muay Thai. But that cultural thing that we see in Muay Thai, like they're the Thai camp, they're not doing MMA. They don't have access to these high level grapplers. Joe Henley from Ventura, California, black belt under Fabio Leopoldo. He got hired like that over there in Thailand because they didn't have a lot of black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 10 years ago. They still don't. There's still not a lot of high level grappling in Thailand yet, like grappling instructors. All right. It's something that's still a market. They still have a need for it. It's going to take another 10 years for them to have these Thai instructors that are going to be there, or foreigners who have kids and have families and build up instructors under them, right? It's going to take time. And that's kind of my theories on why we haven't seen Muay Thai fighters fighting in the UFC. Because not only that, is the presence of the UFC in Asia is pretty small, actually. Outside of pay-per-views, I mean, they've been in Macau a handful of times. I don't know if they've been in Singapore or Malaysia, but the UFC being in Asia proper, it's just a hard market for them to get into because it's like they're an American-based company. It's not easy, especially you go into like mainland China with the restrictions of the country. It's like if you don't speak the language or have boots on the ground or an investment in the country, it's hard to get into that market. All right. It's kind of like the UFC. Remember I made the comparison to it being like the NFL. It's like the NFL being big in China. It's just probably won't happen. It's going to take a different organization. I think they have another like American Football League that's there. That's smaller, I believe. That's there as well as in Europe. It's kind of similar how there's going to be these other organizations that might build it, but the people that are there and stay there, they're probably not going to make it to the UFC. But I think with platforms like One Championship, I think that's going to help them have a development into having that bigger fighter. Like if you get the young Thai fighters, like you're at Keith Kamtorn Gym, you're seeing these kids fight in small gloves in Muay Thai and making a killing, right? I think you're going to start seeing them training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling and make that transition because they have the platform there. They have the option to do it with One Championship. So for that reason, I am very much a big fan of One Championship. So with all these factors in mind, cultural significance, historical barriers, and the growing crossover between Muay Thai and MMA, why do you think we haven't seen more Muay Thai fighters make their way into the UFC? Do you think it's the lack of opportunity, interest, or something else entirely that like I didn't miss or touch here? Let me know your thoughts on our social media or in the Black Room community. Shout out to the Black Room. Or if you're watching here on YouTube, drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd like to hear your take on this. All right. So with that said, I want to say thank you to everybody in the Black Room community. If you don't know what the Black Room is, it's our VIP only subscriber-based way to support the Pu'u Muay Thai podcast. Why do I call it the Black Room? Because it's not the green room like you see in production studio, because it's Muay Thai. It's way more badass than regular media and stuff like that too. But I want to just give a shout out to everybody on the Black Room that supports us. There's Alex, JD from Muay Thai Junkies. Shout out to you, Shade Green. And we have a few other supporters on there as well, but those are some of the first early adopters on to the Black Room. So shout out to you guys. But with that said, Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you next time. Sawadee Kap. All right, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in today to the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast. If you enjoy the content, go leave a review over on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Give us a rating. It means the world to us. Also, if you want to be a guest on the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast, or if you just want to shout out to your friend, go check us out at podcast.pu'umuaythai.com. You can submit to be able to be a guest on the podcast. You can submit what you want to talk about. Also, if you want to just give a shout out, there's a button for that too. Sawadee Kap.